The goal of a faith life is not just to improve the quality of life, but to receive salvation from eternal destruction. Even if you had a tough faith life and don't receive salvation, what's the point of doing it? There's a reason why we should have truthful faith. Some people say that I will believe in God if you show me the evidence. Some others ask to convince them to believe in God. However, you can never meet God in that manner. The gospel is the voice of God's invitation to people, but the gospel itself doesn't have content to convince people. To meet God, you have a gateway to surely pass through. That is, you have to acknowledge the truth that the Son of God was crucified for us, the message of the cross, and then the reality of God can be our reality. However, the message of the cross is often considered foolish in the world because people in the world intend to believe things that are rational and sensible. However, the wisdom of the world has been intended to destroy for a long time ago. King Sennacherib of Assyria tried to conquer Jerusalem. His plan was likely to be accomplished because he had already destroyed surrounding nations. However, God declared destruction to the king who believed in his own wisdom and mocked God. And one morning, he was devastated when he found that 185,000 of his soldiers were dead while asleep. Likewise, the wisdom of God makes the wisdom of the world foolish. The world cannot know God with its own wisdom. Even if the world meditates and sets out a logical argument, through these you cannot find out God. Therefore, God tried to save people in a way that the wisdom of the world considers foolish. He told hypocritical people who saw the work of God but didn't admit what God has done, and they say they would seek first His righteousness but actually ask for their own righteousness. For these people, He sent the message of the cross, which they considered it foolish. Salvation comes from God's calling, and it is irrelevant to humans' wisdom. If someone hears the message of the cross and believes it, it's not because he's a wise person, but he is a person who God called and responded to God's calling. Those who respond to God's calling experience God's love in the message of the cross. What is the point of not knowing the love of God, even if you have wisdom the world uses and build up doctrinal knowledge? It is God's wonderful wisdom that God calls us with the message of the cross considered foolish. Through this, God seeks faithful people who are willing to trust even His foolish things. Let us choose God's wisdom, even if the dedication and service we do as God's will are considered foolish in the world. Let's show true faith in connection with God. Let us be the living person of faith that God seeks. The message of the cross, 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 18 to 25. Sungrak Mission Center.